So does the video go up on the website?
It will.
We'll be able to see it. Logged in on
He's not He's exhausted from this. Absolutely exhausted. And all he wanted to do was get this recliner. So I said, come in the recliner.
Exactly, you'll tell them what happened. It's not going to be any great
I was going to say, we don't need to talk about it. No. He's not good. He's not good. No, because he can run his mouth and rant all he wants. But to face Keith,
Oh, he's going to get it. He's going to get it from people who think he's done it. They're going to call him over the side.
I was talking to Keith earlier. Keith takes his father. He's definitely this guy. And he knows his father.
Oh, yeah.
You should just leave. Let him move out of the way. Let him just get out. They both
Good afternoon, everyone. Got to use Sean's little portable PA system. You can see we've got most of our staff here, and I think our lawyer is actually going to show up. I think I might have given him the wrong time. But anyway, want to make it an open meeting. We can discuss anything you want to discuss. We'll try to answer your questions. You have comments. We are videotaping this full meeting. We're going to put it on our website so everybody can see it. So feel free to speak your mind and ask any questions you want. I got a few comments that I'm going to make, and then Leah is going to run through all the things that have happened in the last 6 or 7 or 8 weeks with Mr. Grogan, and hopefully we can eventually put this mess to bed, but I have my doubts. Anyway, I've never had my honesty and my integrity.
Question.
Let's just
Hold
go.
on, 1 second. I'm just, if you feel like it, I'd just like to give We all feel the same way either.
Well, you guys know we've got all the emails, all the hoopla of everything that's been going on. I'll kind of give you a rundown of what's happened. I agree with Keith. I've never had my integrity, my honesty, anything questioned like it has been. And I know a lot of you don't know me. I'm in the office in the corner. But, you know, I come in, I do my job, would never dream of doing anything illegal, unethical, you know, whatever. But it started back in April. Mr. Grogan requested copies of bank statements. So we copied all of the bank statements, went through, and marked out all the employees' names. Didn't block out any amounts, just blocked out the employee names. So we gave him copies of the bank statements. He came through, went through all of them. I asked him, was there anything in particular that you're looking for? Is there anything we can help you find? You know, is there a problem? No, I'm just a new owner. I want to see how things work. Okay, fine. So Maybe a week later, he sends another email. Why were their payees blacked out? Well, I told him they were employees, and I had been instructed previously that we were not to give out payroll information. So that's what I did. Well, he informed me that that was wrong. So we contacted the attorney. He said he has a right to look at the bank statements and all the disbursements. So I contacted him, come back in, look at the bank statements, which he did. And copies of the fronts of the checks that are returned with the bank statements. He wanted to see backs of checks. We don't get the backs of checks. So I contacted the bank. The bank said that it is $2 a copy for the checks, for each one, and $25 an hour research fee to get the backs of checks. We write approximately 200 checks a month. That is 2,400 checks a year, $4,800, plus about $200 research fee. So we told Mr. Grote we would be more than happy to provide him with the backs of checks if he's willing to pay the fees. Nope, he wants online banking access. We don't have online banking access. We have no need to have online banking access. The checkbook balances every month. If I have something that I have a question about, I call the bank. They provide me with a copy of it at no charge because we get so very few copies because we usually don't have any issues. So he is insistent that he needs to be able to see the backs of checks and that we need to provide him with online banking access. Well, again, the attorney says, no, we are not giving him online banking access. I mean, it's just snowballed. So I'm on vacation. While I'm on vacation, he sends out this mass email to everybody that now he's got questions regarding 4 bank transfers. Well, I'm not here, I can't respond to that because I'm on vacation. So as soon as I got back, I got the copies of the cashier's checks, which I sent out the email explaining to everybody what, how we do our banking. We keep everything in separate accounts. As we need the funds, we transfer them into our operating account. So now he wants copies of these checks. Okay, I've got copies. Come in the office and look at them. I'm not going to email things out with bank account numbers and whatnot. So we get a certified letter, then I don't know what date it was, but he's got, another request for the bank statements, which he's already seen, 2 years worth of bank statements he's already seen. And he wants copies of the canceled checks, which he's already seen the fronts of them, and he wants backs of checks. And it's like, we've already told you, we're not giving you backs of checks unless you want to pay for them. Then we go on, he wants copies of all the invoices that we've paid. I've got them there, I've told him before, if you want to look at them, you're more than welcome to come in the office and look at it. So anyway, we had the attorney respond at this point, basically told him the same information that we've been telling him. We've got the bank statements here, you can look at it. We've got the payables here, you can look at it. Anything you want to see that we have copies of, you're more than welcome to look at. If we have to get copies and we have to pay for them, you need to pay for them. So we told him contact the office. The attorney told him to contact our office to schedule an appointment. He didn't contact the office to schedule an appointment. He sends another certified letter. This time he wants to know what information we won't have for him other than the backs of checks. Well, we've already told him we've got everything but the backs of the checks. And then he's questioning where did we get the quote of the $5,000. So we explained, I've got a letter that I'm getting ready to mail to him, explaining to him where, basically the same thing I've already told him numerous times. He wants the copies of the certified checks for the transfers. We've got those. He's, it's just constantly questioning the same information. I know he's sent out other emails to members that I haven't seen. We've seen some things only because members have said, have you seen this email? And we say no, and they forward it to us. But, the office is an open book. Anybody that wants to see any of the financial records, they're more than welcome to come in and look at them. I've got nothing to hide. The board's got nothing to hide. If anybody's got any questions for me, I'm open to any questions.
Okay, let's throw it open to anybody that has a question or a comment. And look, it doesn't have to be about road. It doesn't have to be about road. It could be about the golf course. We got Jeff down here. to be about the pro shop. Let's just have a nice open meeting and good discussion. Gary?
I was just curious.
Here, let me give you this.
Yeah, I'm losing my voice.
Yeah.
I was just curious what prompted,
There you go.
is that better? That's better. What prompted Mr. Grogan to start this vendetta or inquisition?
No one knows.
Nobody knows.
No one can give you a reason.
He sold his company and he has nothing else to do, so he had to find something to do with his time.
Yeah, it's called harassment.
All right.
Does he live here?
Yeah,
Yep.
he's an owner. He's been an owner since,
Basically Greenbrier.
what,
February of 2014.
2014, so a little bit over.
Okay. Well, that's the main question I had.
No
Trying
one,
to figure out why.
now, I have a theory, it's my theory, and that's, he wants some kind of status in this community. So, yeah, he's getting it. The only way you can get it is to try to hurt everybody else's reputation.
I answered Mr. Grogan's emails, and I thought rather politely. However, HUD users group didn't choose to print those, and I tried to send it to everybody like he did, just do a reply. My computer wouldn't even do that. Obviously, some of the addresses were wrong, but I had told him that it was very unkind to out everybody's email address, that the club actually has to have permission to print them. And that many of his were wrong. People were deceased that were on that list. People had sold their units and moved away. And he wrote me back and said, well, he used the latest, he uses your directory. And I said, the directory is now 7 months old and it was compiled before that. So since we have changes on a weekly basis, the directory is not the best thing. I assumed he was on a committee and was, doing some transparency studies or something. So it didn't work well, but I tried my best. My worry was that he would frighten people that had only lived here a very short time, that didn't know how this club is run. It's run extremely well. I've been the treasurer on this board. I know what it amounts to. I know what it consists of. I've been on a committee the entire time I've been here, lived here. That's over 25 years. This is a well-run place. These people are all spectacular at what they're doing. 90% of it's for free. Our staff is marvelous. There is no better place than this.
Thank you, Vicki.
Keep it up.
Anybody else?
One question.
Gary?
Can I talk loud and say these
No,
steps?
no.
All right.
First of all, I've been on the Finance Committee for numerous years. We have had excellent people chairing that committee. I have no question about the integrity of the whole place. I want to start with that. Next question, is there any time we might, or occasion, that we might have used bank checks as opposed to Hideaway checks?
Yes, we transfer, when we transfer money from one account to another, we will get a cashier's check, because a lot of our accounts, we only do 1 or 2 transactions a year through those accounts. We put money in there when we get our mass amount in, and then we'll transfer it to our general operating account as we need it. Usually it's twice, maybe 3 times, because we'll do it in large amounts. Rather than buying checks and having checks for 13 different bank accounts laying around the office, we keep checks for our main operating account and our reserve accounts. And then if we need money from the other operating accounts, one of the board members will physically go to the bank, get a cashier's check, and take it to our operating account and deposit it there.
Very good, thank you.
I actually did that a couple of times before I left. One time we had all the board members there when I did it. A couple of times I went by myself. We needed to transfer money. You go get a cashier's check. It's made out to the Hideaway, and it's very straightforward. There's a withdrawal from Bank A, and it's deposited in Bank B normally the same day. The paper trail is undeniable. Dave.
My name is Dave Ruckle. I live in Oakmont 534. A couple things. I'm the moderator of the Hideaway 2 website, along with Dick Trungor. And we were approached by Mr. Grogan, I believe around the beginning of June, to publish his emails and forward those on. And we elected not to, just because of the way that they were constructed and the nature of we just didn't feel that they were fairly constructed, and so we elected to stay out of this whole fray, and I'm really glad that we did. But
Could you speak up a little?
okay, sorry about that. So we did not get, the Hideaway 2 Newsnet did not get involved in any of this information that was being disseminated by Mr. Grover. Now, what I wanted to touch on was why do you have all these accounts? One of the reasons you may not be aware of, and I'm familiar with this because we did exactly the same thing in our condo complex in Ohio. And that is that the condo association has to secure their money. They cannot take risk with the money. They cannot invest it. They cannot put it into something that's not guaranteed. Everything that the condo association does with their money has to be within the FDIC insurance coverage limits, which are $250,000. Now, I don't know how exactly we've done it here, but in our complex in Ohio, we put in about $150,000 in reserves into Bank A. When it gets up to around $220,000, we stop putting anything into that account. We go to the next bank. We have several different banks, and we would operate those banks and write checks out of those accounts once a year at most, so we wouldn't bother getting checks. We would just go to the bank and transfer from one account to the other, just like Keith said. So it's a very common practice in condos, because we're trying to stay within this $250,000 insurance limit, that you have all these accounts. And that may have been one of the questions, why do we have all these accounts? Well, that's why. So that we don't exceed that, and therefore we don't subject ourselves to any loss in case the bank fails. So that's one question that I wanted to touch on, Mr. Manning's question. Lastly, since I've been here, I've become involved in a few committees and gotten involved in our Oakmont board, etc. Kind of all the things I said I wouldn't do when I came down here to retire, but I find it more gratifying to be involved than to not be involved. I'm pretty comfortable with what I've heard, and I've done some research on my own, and I'm pretty comfortable with how things have gone. Now, Mr. Grogan may have brought up a point or two that are valid, and I'm sure they're going to be addressed. But the sad part about this is that we're spending all this time talking about him, and we don't need to be talking about him. We have a lot of positive things going on in this community right now. A lot of things have changed just in the past few months. A lot of the committees are becoming very involved and very active, and I'm on 2 of those, communications and the Community Service Watch Committee, formerly known as the Security Committee. You can be hearing that term a lot. Before I pass the mic to my colleague on Community Watch, I wanted to just report briefly on the Communications Committee, because we met yesterday. We talked about the various mediums that the complex uses, the Channel 195, the website, the email blasts, the newsletter, etc. Lots of exciting changes are going to be coming down the pipe, and I just wanted to kind of whet your appetite for that. They're too technical and too detailed to go into at this point, but the committee has really got a good handle on what it wants to do, and the administration really has a good handle on what it wants to do. Janine and Keith And everybody that's worked on this knows the shortcomings, knows the issues that have to be addressed. And I think a logjam has really been broken here, and things are starting to move. We're starting to see some innovation, and you're going to see a lot of things for the positive over the next year or two at the most. And going forward, yes, but I mean some of those immediate things are going to be happening this year. So that's kind of a very quick report from our communication. Do you mind if I pass to Fred for?
No, I don't mind at all.
Okay. Fred is one of my colleagues on Security Watch, and we both have a law enforcement background, so we both share the interest in security for the complex. So, Fred Zahara.
Hello, my name's Fred Zaharoff. I'm part of the Community Watch Security Committee that's trying to take care of this place best we can. One or two of the things that have been done is a security light at the front gate. If you're walking in, there's a light that goes on at night and alerts the security or the guardhouse people that there's somebody coming in, just check them out. One of the things that I think that's more important, though, for us right now is we have been in contact with the Lee County Sheriff's Department along with our administrative staff and through the Alan Canfield, the deputy, and Kim Swanson. She's a doctor who gave a seminar here earlier this year. Which when I say we, I'm going to talk most about us people that stay here all year, us regular people, that there'll be something going on before the snowbirds come back. So I'm getting used to those terms because I was one very recently. So through the communications of the office, administrative offices, we're going to have a mini seminar about Security Watch. And it's not a personal involvement thing, but we'll get the signs. They'll have a speaker, Kim Swanson, will explain what it does, and we'll all feel a part of it, because that's what neighborhood watch is all about. So I'm not sure when this is going to